What happens when a royal guest thinks he can rewrite the rules of live television and turn a respected morning show into his personal soapbox? It only took 37 seconds for Prince Harry to completely destroy his reputation on national television, transforming from sympathetic figure to entitled antagonist in a meltdown that left veteran host Savannah Guthrie fighting to maintain control of her own show. The Today Show studio felt different that morning. The lighting seemed sharper, the air thicker with anticipation as producers scrambled behind cameras, knowing they were about to witness television history. Savannah Guthrie sat poised in her signature chair, papers neatly arranged, earpiece crackling with final instructions from the control room. Across from her, Prince Harry fidgeted with his microphone, his jaw already set in a way that suggested this interview would be anything but ordinary. "Good morning, Prince Harry. Thank you for joining us today." Savannah began with her trademark warm professionalism, her voice carrying the perfect balance of respect and journalistic authority that had made her one of America's most trusted news anchors. Harry leaned back in his chair, a smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. "Well, Savannah, I have to say I find it interesting that you're thanking me when your network has spent months profiting off stories about my family." The comment landed like a stone in still water. Savannah's eyebrows raised slightly, but her composure remained intact. "Prince Harry, we're here to discuss your upcoming charitable initiatives and your new life in California. I think our viewers would love to hear about the positive work you're doing." "Positive work?" Harry's voice rose a notch, his hands gesturing dismissively. "You want to talk about positive work while your colleagues at NBC continue to run hit pieces about my wife? While they dissect every move we make like we're animals in a zoo?" Savannah maintained her professional smile, though viewers could see the slight tension in her shoulders. "I understand you've had concerns about media coverage, but perhaps we could focus on your charitable foundation and the impact you're hoping to make." Harry laughed, but there was no warmth in it. "You understand? Do you really, Savannah? Do you understand what it's like to have your every word twisted, your every action scrutinized by people who have never walked in your shoes?" The studio audience shifted uncomfortably. Camera operators exchanged glances as they continued filming, sensing they were capturing something unprecedented. Savannah's producer spoke urgently into her earpiece, but she couldn't break away now. "I think many people can relate to feeling misunderstood," Savannah replied carefully, her years of experience guiding her through increasingly choppy waters. "But you chose to speak publicly about your experiences. Surely you expected there would be ongoing interest and discussion." Harry's face darkened. "I chose to tell my truth, Savannah, not to be dissected by morning show hosts who think they know better than I do about my own life." The insult was subtle but unmistakable. Savannah's professional mask slipped for just a fraction of a second, revealing a flash of steel beneath the polished exterior. "Prince Harry, I've been a journalist for over 2 decades. My job is to ask the questions that our viewers want answered. Your job," Harry interrupted, his voice dripping with condescension, "is to ask the questions your corporate bosses want asked. Don't pretend this is about serving the public interest, when we both know it's about ratings and advertising dollars." The tension in the studio was now palpable. Crew members found themselves holding their breath, unsure whether to continue rolling or cut to commercial. Savannah's co-hosts watched from their positions off camera, their faces reflecting a mixture of concern and disbelief. "That's quite an accusation," Savannah said, her voice still steady but carrying a new edge. "Are you suggesting that we brought you here under false pretenses?" Harry leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "I'm suggesting that you invited me here, hoping I'd provide you with sound bites for your entertainment segments. You want me to smile and talk about charity work while your network continues to treat my family like a reality show." "Prince Harry, with respect, no one forced you to participate in this interview," Savannah replied, her journalistic instincts taking over. "You and your representatives reached out to us about appearing on the show." The reminder seemed to infuriate Harry further. His composure began to crack visibly as he realized his narrative was being challenged on live television. "We reached out because we thought, foolishly perhaps, that we might find a fair platform here. Instead, I'm sitting across from someone who's clearly already made up her mind about me." Savannah's patience was wearing thin, but her professionalism remained her anchor. "I haven't made up my mind about anything, Prince Harry. I'm simply trying to conduct an interview, which is what you agreed to do when you came here today." "What I agreed to," Harry shot back, his voice rising dangerously, "was a conversation about the work I'm doing to make the world a better place. What I'm getting instead is the same old media game, the same attempts to trap me with gotcha questions and false narratives." The accusation hung in the air like smoke. Viewers at home could see Savannah's jaw tighten almost imperceptibly. She had built her career on fair, tough journalism, and being accused of playing games struck at the heart of her professional integrity. "Prince Harry, I haven't asked you a single gotcha question," Savannah said, her voice carrying a new firmness that regular viewers would recognize as her shifting into investigative mode. "I've asked you about your charitable work, which is exactly what you said you wanted to discuss." Harry's face flushed red. "Don't gaslight me, Savannah. I know how this works. You start with the soft questions to make me comfortable, then you move in for the kill. That's the playbook, isn't it?" The accusation of gaslighting sent a visible shock through the studio. Several crew members looked up from their equipment, their faces reflecting disbelief that a guest would make such a personal attack on live television. Savannah's producer was now frantically gesturing from behind the cameras, but there was no graceful way to end this train wreck. "I'm not sure what playbook you're referring to," Savannah replied, her voice cool but controlled. "But I can assure you that my only agenda here is to give you a platform to share your message with our viewers." Harry laughed bitterly. "Your platform? This isn't your platform, Savannah. This is a corporate machine designed to chew people up and spit them out for profit. You're just the friendly face they put in front of the cameras." The insult was devastating in its precision. Harry had essentially called her a puppet, reducing decades of accomplished journalism to mere window dressing. Viewers could see Savannah's hands grip her notes slightly tighter, though her expression remained composed. "I think you're confusing me with someone else," Savannah said quietly, her voice carrying the kind of dangerous calm that preceded a storm. "I've built my career on asking tough questions and holding people accountable, regardless of their title or status." "Holding people accountable?" Harry's voice cracked with incredulous laughter. "You mean like how you held the royal correspondents accountable when they published lies about my wife?" "Oh wait, you didn't do that, did you?" Savannah's eyes flashed. "Prince Harry, I'm not responsible for every story that gets published about you or your family. I'm responsible for this interview, right here, right now." "And how's that going for you?" Harry asked mockingly. "Are you getting the ratings you wanted? Are your bosses happy with the drama you're creating?" The hypocrisy was staggering. Harry was accusing Savannah of creating drama while being the sole source of conflict in the interview. Viewers could see the irony even if he couldn't, and Savannah wasn't about to let it slide. "The only drama in this studio is coming from you," she said, her professional composure finally showing real cracks. "I've been nothing but respectful, and you've responded with accusations and personal attacks." Harry's face contorted with rage. "Respectful? You think bringing up my family's pain for entertainment value is respectful? You think treating my personal struggles like content for your morning show is respectful?" "I haven't brought up your personal struggles," Savannah fired back, her voice rising for the first time. "You did that in your book, in your interviews, in your documentary. You made your personal life public, and now you're angry that people are discussing it?" The truth hit Harry like a physical blow. His mouth opened and closed as he struggled to formulate a response that wouldn't further expose his contradictions. The cameras captured every second of his internal struggle, broadcasting his confusion to millions of viewers. "That's different," he finally managed, but his voice lacked conviction. "I told my story on my terms. And now you're upset that other people are discussing your story on their terms?" Savannah asked, her journalistic instincts fully engaged. "You can't control the narrative once you put it out there, Prince Harry. That's not how public discourse works." Harry's composure completely shattered. "Don't lecture me about public discourse, Savannah. You have no idea what it's like to have your entire life dissected by strangers who think they have the right to judge you." "You're right, I don't," Savannah acknowledged, her voice softening slightly. "But I do know what it's like to be a professional, trying to do my job while being attacked by someone who agreed to be here." The simple statement carried more power than any dramatic declaration could have. Harry realized he had painted himself into a corner, appearing as the aggressor against a host who had remained largely professional throughout his increasingly erratic behavior. "Your job," Harry said, his voice now desperate and grasping, "is to protect the powerful and tear down anyone who threatens the status quo." Savannah stared at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. "My job, Prince Harry, is to ask questions and let people speak for themselves. And right now, you're speaking volumes about who you really are." The observation landed with surgical precision. Harry's face went white as he realized that his own behavior was destroying any sympathy viewers might have had for him. He had come on the show to rehabilitate his image and instead had revealed himself to be exactly what his critics claimed, entitled and unable to handle even gentle scrutiny. "Who I really am?" Harry's voice cracked with indignation, his hands trembling slightly as he gripped the arms of his chair. "You think you know who I am based on a few minutes of television?" Savannah leaned forward slightly, her years of experience with volatile interviews guiding her response. "I think our viewers are capable of forming their own opinions based on what they're seeing right now." The reminder that millions of people were watching this meltdown in real time seemed to hit Harry like a cold splash of water. His eyes darted toward the cameras, then back to Savannah, as if suddenly remembering that his behavior was being broadcast live across America. "This is exactly what I'm talking about," Harry said, his voice becoming more frantic. "You're using my emotional response against me, turning my passion for justice into a spectacle for your audience." Savannah's eyebrows raised slightly. "Your passion for justice? Prince Harry, you've spent the last 10 minutes attacking me personally rather than discussing any issues of justice." "Because you won't let me," Harry exploded, his voice echoing through the studio. "Every time I try to talk about the real issues, you redirect the conversation back to your predetermined narrative." The outburst was so sudden and loud that several crew members jumped. Savannah, however, remained perfectly still, her expression calm but alert. She had dealt with difficult guests before, but never one who seemed so completely unaware of his own behavior. "Prince Harry, I've asked you twice about your charitable work, and both times you've chosen to attack the media instead," Savannah said, her voice steady and factual. "The only predetermined narrative here seems to be your assumption that I'm your enemy." Harry's face flushed an even deeper shade of red. "You are my enemy. You're part of a system that destroyed my mother, that drove my wife to the brink of suicide, that treats my family like characters in a soap opera." The accusation was so extreme, so disconnected from the reality of their conversation, that even Harry seemed to realize he had gone too far. Savannah's expression shifted from professional patience to genuine concern, not for the interview, but for the clearly unraveling man sitting across from her. "Prince Harry, I think you need to take a breath," Savannah said gently, her hostility momentarily replaced by human compassion. "This interview doesn't have to be a battle," but Harry was beyond reasoning. "Don't patronize me, Savannah. Don't sit there and pretend you care about my well-being when you're the one exploiting my pain for your career advancement." The accusation was so unfair, so disconnected from Savannah's actual behavior during the interview, that she finally allowed her frustration to show. "I'm trying to help you here, Prince Harry. You came on this show with an opportunity to share your message, and instead you've chosen to attack me personally." "Help me?" Harry laughed maniacally. "You want to help me by making me look unstable on national television? By baiting me into losing my temper so you can have your viral moment?" Savannah's patience finally reached its breaking point. "Prince Harry, I haven't baited you into anything. Everything you've said and done in the last 15 minutes has been your choice. I've been sitting here trying to conduct a professional interview while you've been having a public breakdown." The word breakdown seemed to trigger something primal in Harry. He shot to his feet so suddenly that his chair rolled backward, the wheels squeaking against the studio floor. "Breakdown? You think this is a breakdown? This is me finally standing up to people like you who think they can manipulate and control me." Savannah remained seated, but her body language shifted into a more defensive posture. Security personnel, who had been standing just off camera, took a step closer, their hands moving instinctively toward their equipment. "Prince Harry, I'm going to need you to sit back down," Savannah said, her voice carrying new authority. "This is a professional environment, and I won't tolerate threatening behavior." "Threatening?" Harry's voice reached a fever pitch. "I'm the one being threatened here. Threatened by your questions, threatened by your smug superiority, threatened by your entire corrupt industry." The paranoia in his voice was unmistakable now. Harry had transformed from a sympathetic figure discussing media treatment into someone who appeared genuinely unstable on live television. Viewers across the country watched in horrified fascination as a member of the British royal family completely lost control. "That's enough," Savannah said firmly, rising from her own chair. "This interview is over. Security, please escort Prince Harry from the building." Harry's eyes widened in shock and fury. "You're kicking me out? You invite me here, ambush me with your questions, and then throw me out when I defend myself? I'm removing someone who is being disruptive and potentially threatening from my workplace," Savannah replied, her voice ice cold, which is exactly what any responsible person would do in this situation. As security moved in, Harry's desperation became palpable. "This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is how you silence anyone who dares to challenge your narrative. You'll edit this to make me look like the villain while you come out looking like the hero." Savannah stared at him for a long moment before delivering her final response. "Prince Harry, I don't need to edit anything. You've shown America exactly who you are today, and that speaks for itself." The words hit Harry like a physical blow. As security gently but firmly guided him toward the exit, he continued shouting, his voice becoming more shrill and desperate with each step. "You'll regret this, Savannah. The truth will come out. People will see what you really are." But his threats rang hollow, the desperate cries of someone who had destroyed his own credibility in spectacular fashion. Savannah watched him go, then turned back to the camera with the composure that had made her one of television's most respected journalists. "We'll be right back after this commercial break," she said calmly, as if the last 20 minutes of chaos had been just another day at the office.